and welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. I've been in Florida a long time, and I've run across people, and they keep talking about research companies, and I really didn't understand. I've heard in the past research and development, but there's a whole probably different area. With me is Greg Coase from Research Biz LLC. What is Research Biz?
Well, thank you, Wayne. Research Biz is a market research consultancy.
Okay.
And we offer services that are either quantitative research, such as web surveys or telephone surveys, and qualitative research, which can be an in-depth interview or focus groups, and those can either be done in person or virtually online.
Okay, so with that said, who would your clientele be? Like, would it be a bakery that wants to know how good their products are? Would it be a car deal? I mean, who is your clientele?
My clientele thus far ranges more along professional services.
Okay.
It isn't always a company that's selling a physical product. Oftentimes it's a service. So imagine a wealth management service, for example, wants to do customer satisfaction, make sure that their agents are providing adequate services or exemplary services. Really, they don't want just to be adequate.
Yeah,
they want to make sure
yeah.
that they're getting 5 points on a 5-point scale. I've done work for a web app developer,
Okay.
trying to figure out whether what it was that they were creating is going to be enticing to the potential customer base. I even have a client that is a global database of genetic sequencing for viruses. So, they're more interested in making sure that their kind of communications and messaging is getting out in the right way to the right people. So we kind of measure social media and press to just see that the brand is kind of aligned with their mission and their objectives.
So really, it's really a multifaceted company.
Yes, it is.
Where you're doing information on branding, so they make sure that they're in the right path for what they're branding, and you're making sure that the quality control of what they do is there via interviews with or testimonies type scenario?
Yes. Sometimes, yeah. In fact, for that web app development company, they actually used little 10-second and 15-second clips from our in-depth interviews with prospects, because they were so enthusiastic about the potential product. They wanted to use that information in their pitch deck for financial investors into this product. So that one worked out very well in that, we did about 13 or 14 interviews, and we found that there wasn't a single person among those 13 or 14 who responded who said, "Ugh, that's a terrible product. I would never buy that." They were all like, "Oh yeah, I could see my buddies and I playing this every weekend."
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I have to ask you this. What made you go into this field? Because it's like not one of those fields, it's not like mom says, "My son is a doctor, my son is a lawyer." Okay?
right.
Why'd you get into this?
My mom, for a number of years, said, "Oh, Greg works with computers." It's like, well, yeah, I use a computer in my business, but it's
that
really,
works for them.
Yeah, right. But no, I ended up in market research because in the early 1990s, I was in graduate school for actually history of all things.
No.
But I was studying business history, and I was very interested in quantitative methods. And I found a part-time job while I was finishing up my degree in the field of market research. And I found more and more that this was more intriguing to me, what I was doing day to day, working in market research, than completing the work toward a PhD in history, where I may or may not end up at a college or a community college teaching. And just as I said, I was more invigorated by the market research that I was working on, and made that my career.
And it's kind of cool because, like, for me, I love what I do because it's different every day. You talk to different people every day, and then
Absolutely.
there are different research projects that you deal with. So one could be about bagels, and the next could be about beer, okay, and the next could be about a plumber. It doesn't.
Yep.
It can. It's always something new.
That is exact. And I say the exact same thing to people that I'm telling about my work. One of the great things is that one day I might be doing a survey about potato chips, and the next day it's about high resolution printers, and the next day it's about a long distance calling card that's designed for military personnel. So,
And it's kind of cool because, like I said, if I wasn't doing this, I would probably want to open like a pawn shop where they're bringing in different things every day, something new, to keep you excited, and that's within someone's nature. So I can kind of get why that industry that you're in would kind of be exciting, because you don't know what project's going to fall in your lap at any specific time. So I come in and I say, look, I want to know if my clients are satisfied with the videos that they got. So did I meet with you, and do we set up a plan of questions, or how does that come down?
yeah, that's about exactly how it would work. We would talk about what your objectives are. If it's pretty clear cut about customer satisfaction among your client base, we would together design a survey questionnaire. There wouldn't be a too complicated screener where we're filtering out people, because you're probably going to send me a list of email addresses or telephone numbers with the names of the customers, so that we can reach out to them. One of the benefits of using a third-party service like mine is that customers are going to be more likely to open up and kind of give you the God's honest truth about their experience with your business. Because if you're going to call them personally and say, hey, how satisfied are you with the work that we did? Even if there's a twinge of disappointment or something like that they weren't happy about, they may feel, just out of common courtesy to another human being, that they're not going to, kind of reveal that to you.
It's so important as a business owner. It's more important to know the negatives than it is to know the positives. Right. And you're right, if they're not going to tell me because, hey, we connected, and then I'll never know to fix it. Like if I go to a restaurant and something's wrong, I'll tell the owner, but I won't let him give me anything, because I'm not telling him for that reason. I'm telling him because if he doesn't know, he can't fix it. And you're right, it's easier telling a stranger than to tell. So you sat across from me, we do an interview, and then I call you and ask you how it was. Well, you'll kind of be like, feel maybe a little guilty, saying, you know what, it was terrible, or it was really good, but I didn't like this, or I didn't. With a stranger, it's probably a lot easier. And the person who owns the company can now adjust and fix that product or fix that service.
Right.
When we talk about who's your clientele, is it, you were talking about service businesses, but it could be any kind of business.
It can be.
Is it small to medium businesses?
Yeah, I find that most clientele for a market research service, a third-party service that's going to provide a full range of capabilities, the type of company that's going to come to a business like that typically is going to have, at a minimum, of about 20 employees, and they're going to have a minimum, annual revenue of probably at least $1 million. If they're not in that range, they're probably going to be so small that they're going to try to do the market research themselves. And there are a host of kind of do-it-yourself platforms. You may have heard of SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics. These are softwares that you can survey your customers or prospects, and to understand more about them. But what a lot of people don't understand is just how much time is involved to really learn the ins and outs of those software platforms, and how much time it really takes to understand and analyze and synthesize and create a nice crystallized narrative about what you've actually learned from the process. Somebody like me who has done probably 1,500 different market research surveys in my career, and I've interviewed over 1 million people, believe it or not, not with Research Biz, but throughout my 30-year career. You learn a lot of things that some people who are kind of novice to the field might say, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. I got a 7.8 on an average 10-point scale. That's terrible. But if you understand a little bit more about the industry, and you have conducted similar surveys for different companies in the same field or the same industry vertical, you can, kind of report, don't panic, a 7.8 actually in this industry is actually very good. So things like that. But yeah, generally, I'm finding that most of my clients tend to be have at least a minimum threshold of, as I said, maybe about 20 employees or more and about $1 million revenue per year. If it's lower than that, they're going to be kind of hesitant to be putting up a $2,000 or a $5,000 check to initiate some research. Yeah.
I have a philosophy that, like, people talk about, oh, I have 200 5-star reviews on Google. To me, I would rather have 4.9 on 200 or 4.7 than 5.0, because it's almost unbelievable that you've pleased everybody, because nobody pleases everybody. And and not to take away from what you do, but if I had to do a survey for me, you said everything was great, it would kind of worry me, because I know that you can't please everybody, and I want to know what they won't tell me, but they'll tell you, so that I could fix it and make it right moving forward. Because if Mary says to you, everything was really good except for B, I'm sure she's not the only one. I'm sure it's happened more than once.
Right.
Okay? And you can't fix it if you don't know. That's what makes what you do so specialized for somebody to fix and level up what they do, not with these things that are unknowns. And that, to me, is so important. We're running out of time. How do people find you? You have a website?
I absolutely do. My website is researchbiz.biz, and I also have the telephone number is 772-333-1633. And on my website, there's a Contact Us page.
Right, always the easiest
where you can set up an appointment, and it's always a free consultation. I'm willing to spend up to an hour with any prospect and just talk about their research scenario and what might be the best solution for it.
How long does the survey usually take?
The project itself can range. I've had one, just recent one that I finished for a golf technology company, that they contacted me and they wanted results within 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we did it. But most projects tend to last between about 4 to 8 weeks, to really get a thorough and proper assessment
And
of
final
whatever their
report.
business. Yep, that'll include a final report.
Cool. One more time. What's your website?
Researchbiz.biz.
And the phone number?
772-333-1633.
And you can work, people can get in touch with you from California. It doesn't really matter, does
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not limited to our local area here. I do work for clients across the country, and I even have one client who's based in Germany.
it? Wow. Everybody, I'll say it again, always use a professional. Plus, the time that you would take to do this, the way they do it, if you figure out dollars to time, you're probably going to lose money and not get the right answers you want. Greg, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much, Wayne.
Everybody have a great day, and we'll be right back.